guys. I haven't been online for a while, and not that I get that many viewers anyway, but yeah. So I've had the flu. Many may think I've had COVID or have COVID. Probably have, I don't know. But yeah, I've just been doing a lot of walking and just having a lot of broths and soups and stuff and trying to get myself well again. That's not been my main issue. My main issue has been trying to find the cure for my son, as in what's actually wrong with him, because one of my goals is to actually be able to achieve some speech for my son before I die. And I believe in order to do that, if I can get a good understanding of his physical health, I'm more likely to achieve better results in other areas, and one is speech. And so let's move on. So with Daniel, he's been diagnosed with an extended bladder. Many may say, what is that? Well, it causes, an extended bladder causes urine retention. It can cause some abdominal pains. It can also give you a false sense of your bladder being full, or even if your bladder is full and you have an urge to go to the toilet, you don't really empty your bladder out properly, and these kind of symptoms really. And and then so 2 years ago, I'm just trying to make this into some sort of chronological order. So 2 years ago, in March 2020, that's not 2 years ago. Sorry. Anyway, so basically in March 2020, my son came off the risperidone and the clonazepam, and he stopped getting the urine retention, because obviously that was the side effect from those drugs. And moving forward, he was less likely to experience urine retention now that he was off the drugs that had caused it in the first place. But he started to display these behaviours, unusual behaviours. And these behaviours involved him snooting, and not like this, but excessively, for hours. That's not even normal, for hours and hours, to the point he started to hyperventilate. He was having breathing issues, and one would assume, he was pacing, his stimmers were getting worse, and he was just getting hyper and agitated and quite aggressive, and then that would lead on to him becoming physically challenging and confrontational, etc. Nowhere to the same degree as what he used to be like, he'd be pulling hair and grabbing you and tossing you and all that. No, nothing like that. So obviously I needed to find out what, me being me, I needed to find out what was going on with my son. And so I went to the GP. The GP referred Daniel to the urologist. The urologist said, well, here's tamsulosin. So he started tamsulosin. Tamsulosin, by the way, is a drug for people who suffer from prostate problems, and it's given to guys who are over 40, and Daniel's only 25. So so Daniel started to develop these breathing conditions, and like I've explained already. And it was getting to the point that it was obviously affecting his daily life, his activities, and I just couldn't understand. And it was happening so frequently. It was happening all the time. Throughout the day, there was no predictability on what time it was going to happen, how long was it going to last, when it was going to happen. So then what I did, was I was very persistent. I then chased the GP again. He did another referral, and it was almost like this yo-yoing trick with the urologist, and it got to the point the urologist would just say, right, okay, give him these antibiotics, see if they work, and then it was just like a temporary fix. So he's had that again. So I had to take him into A&D recently. Now this time, I thought to myself, enough's enough. I'm not going to put up with this. I've had enough. I really have. So I did my own research. I thought, because by the way, I forgot to mention, he was having these unusual sweats. Like, I'm not talking about just, feeling hot and a bit of sweat under the armpits and at the back. No, absolutely drenched from his entire torso. Just the torso, mind you, nowhere else. And I kept mentioning this to doctors, his torso's soaking wet, and, his temples, the veins in his temples were popping, and the veins in his neck, and it was just, oh my God, it was painful just to watch him like that. So I started doing my own research, and I couldn't find any connection, bladder issues and sweat. They kept saying hypertension. Tension leads to, like a condition for oversweating, over perspiration, and it wasn't that. So I really had to dig deep, and eventually I came to something that looks somewhat relatable, and it was called intestinal cystitis. And I thought this could be it. And it said it affects 1 million men each year, and there's no actual cure for it. It can't be cured with antibiotics, and there's stages to it. And you don't want the stages to get worse. It's almost like there's 4 stages, and the 4th stage is surgery. And when it gets to surgery, it gets really tricky. And that was frightening for me. So there I was with this information in front of me. I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I have to do something. So I contacted a private doctor, and I took some advice from him. He said, no, it sounds like your instinct is correct, and I think you need to liaise with your GP. So then I chased up the referral that the GP did. He did a referral in August that I hadn't heard back from, and I thought, okay, I chased that up, and they said, oh, it wasn't an urgent referral, therefore we haven't arranged your son to have an appointment. And I thought, so then what I did was I contacted the GP, and I said, you didn't do an urgent referral, is it possible if you could do that? So he did that. So hopefully he's done that. That was just today, yesterday. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, if that goes through, he can call Daniel in any day, and then I can liaise with them and discuss these issues. But honestly, I don't trust NHS doctors. I mean, considering that I don't even know what stage Daniel's at. I don't even know what this is. And it's kind of concerning. I could be wrong, there's a high possibility I could be wrong, but it's their job to investigate what the issue is. They can't just constantly just assume that it's to do with UTIs when there's they don't find any bacteria, or it's to do with urine retention when he hasn't had urine retention. So they need to sort of push the bar a bit. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. That's what I've been doing. Not very exciting.